Hey, welcome back to JG3 Reviews. My name is James, and I do fountain pen, ink, and paper reviews. And I like to share with you great pens for great prices, and that's what we're going to do today. So if you're familiar with the channel, you know that I am, as many of you are, a big fan of PenBBS pens. They have some beautiful resins and some creative looks to their pens, and they like to revive some old designs, which I think is really cool. And they are tremendous value for money and really consistently good writers. But maybe it's not as well known among all fountain pen users that they also are a tremendous bargain if you're looking for a great, reliable, smooth writing pen, but you don't care about really bright or creative resins. Maybe you've already got that, but you just want a good daily driver in a simple acrylic. They do that, and I think it's often underappreciated. These are really good deals. So this is the 480 in a Vermouth green acrylic, and you can have this pen for less than 20 bucks, which is a great deal on a fountain pen of this quality. You think about that for a second. You can get this for 2/3 the price of a Lamy Safari in the US. And look at this. You get a vintage, inspired by the Sheaffer balance pen, a vintage look with a modern acrylic, a great reliable nib that can be swapped out with those really cool calligraphy nibs that PenBBS keeps putting out, or other number 6 nibs. It really gives you a lot of variety. This one is a cartridge converter. It can also be eyedropper. And then there are other models of their pens that come in this more affordable acrylic as well. With all that said, let's flip the camera. We're going to take a closer look at the design of this and some other acrylic pens that I have from PenBBS, and I'm going to tell you why I think this really is something you might want to check out. All right, so this is the 480. Again, it's a design based on the Sheaffer balance pen. So the shape has been around for about 100 years. And then you have the fairly common PenBBS blade clip, which is nice and strong. Now, there's not a lot to look at in terms of exterior design. It's a demonstrator, so really your eye just goes to everything inside as a demonstrator should. So let's do that. First, we'll count the turns. So there is one, just over. Was it 1.5? Let's see here. One, yeah, right at 1.5. And all you really have to the cap is, of course, that clip and the trim band, which says PenBBS and 480. And then you're done, right? You're done with that. It does, by the way, post very nicely, very securely, and because of the acrylic, is really well balanced, not at all back heavy. I think it just works on so many levels, this pen. You do have one little metal trim band right here, and that's it for trim. You have the hourglass grip section, which is comfortable. I think the diameter is good, and that works really well. You have an O-ring here for the pen. You can eyedropper this pen. So it's a silicone O-ring, and then you have the included converter. Very simple design, well made. The acrylic is of a nice thickness. I've not encountered on any of my pens thus far any cracks in the grip. That's all just gone well. I'm checking right now while I'm talking to you about it, because naturally that's when James would find one, right? I do recommend, because they do sometimes have some cracking of the plastic sleeve that is the nib and feed housing. That's just the nature of the game. Their tolerances tend to be quite tight. And you can get a spare parts package from PenBBS on Etsy that includes extras of pretty much everything. The feed, the housing, converters, O-rings. It is a bargain. The price is really good. When you're ordering a pen, throw that in there sometime, and you'll be glad that you did. Their nibs are also just consistently good. Some find them to write a little bit dry, but if you do the very simple technique of just using a bit of, not over firm, but just a few lines, maybe a half dozen lines, kind of checking between, of a firm press, but not, don't spread the tines even. You don't even have to go crazy. You'll get it to be a little bit wetter, writer pretty easily. Several people have done videos on that. I don't believe I have yet, but Google that on the YouTubes, on the interwebs, and you'll be able to find it. It's a very simple technique, and it works and makes these really, I think, even better writers. But I do like their nibs. You'll notice that even on this fine, it has just a slight upturn. They do write quite well, very, very smooth and very consistent, and very replaceable, because you can order replacement nib units in standard sizes, fine, extra fine, round, medium. You can find those for, here in the US, I go to Etsy, and you can get them for, I think they're $6 now. I think they've gone up from 5, but about $6. And where do you find a great number 6 nib that you not just nib unit for that kind of a good deal? It's just a fantastic deal, and they are, again, very consistent. And with that, let's do the quick size comparison, and in that comparison, I will show you some other PenBBS pens in acrylic that give you an idea of what you can get at more affordable prices. All right, let's do a quick size comparison. This is the 480 in that vermouth green, the 456 in a dark brown. This is a vacuum pen and a demonstrator, maybe more easily seen in this really nice highlighter colored 456. Really great pens, and I know a lot of PenBBS fans have this as one of their absolute favorites. And then, of course, while not a demonstrator pen or a clear acrylic, the Galaxy Blue in the 308. I don't have a demonstrator of the 308, so I put this out here just strictly for size comparison, but a pen a lot of you may have. And then this is, I think, one of the best bargains that PenBBS puts out there. This is the 491. It's a clipless eyedropper pen, although it also comes with a converter. I've reviewed this pen before. Just a great pen, really nice demonstrator pen, and of course it comes in those standard PenBBS nibs that write so well. And then the PenBBS bargain basement pen for $6, I think at the current price. I got mine for about $5. Is what's called the Marshmallow pen from PenBBS. Comes with a little mini Fude nib. It's a small nib. It's not their standard number 6, and just a great little pen. It's a thinner acrylic. You can kind of see where they have cost cut a little bit, but it is a reliable little pen, and a lot of people really like it. I will just tell you, it is here for a size comparison. It's a small pen, small, thin section, so be aware of that. But if you're looking for an inexpensive PenBBS pen, or maybe you want one for a younger kid, maybe with a smaller pen, that's a great option there. And then we have the Sailor Compass, a great little demonstrator pen. Only one nib choice, medium fine. That puts it at a bit of a disadvantage compared to those PenBBS pens that use the number 6, because they give you a lot of choices. Also, you can get this 456 vac-filled pen for the same MSRP as the Compass. Now, I do see these on sale for less than the 456 now and then. However, I would buy this pen. It just gives you much more bang for the buck, and it is actually a thicker acrylic with more color options. And here are the pens in their posted length. Not any big surprises there, except for that 491 that turns into an absolute baseball bat when posted. And here are the pens in their unposted length. And now it's time to put ink to paper. And I'm going to write with this pen posted. I like it that way. It writes well both ways, but it's not so heavy that it's overly back-weighted. This is the PenBBS 480. This is the fine. Well, that's just a nice smooth nib. But I knew that when I bought this pen. This is not my first 480 in fine. It just is excellent. And the ink today might be a surprise. This is Jinhao, and it's blue. Sometimes that name includes the word sky, because they do have blue cartridges and they're not this same blue. Very comparable to Monteverde Caribbean blue in its shading and color, and that's a good thing. I like both these inks an awful lot. Just a really nice nib. This just glides over the paper. Really nice pen, great nib. That's not a surprise. But what I really want to highlight today is the affordability of these acrylic PenBBS pens. I think they are kind of an unsung hero within the fountain pen world. You've got, for example, with the 480, a terrific classic retro fountain pen design with modern manufacturing and cartridge converter pen and eyedropper, just more versatility than the original Sheaffer Balance, but with that really great look. And I like that. I really like that. Sheaffer, really maybe you should be trying that too, right? Anyway, and then there is this great 491, a big capacity eyedropper and a really good demonstrator clear acrylic, among other things. Just a great pen. And then there is the 456, a vac fill pen with a safety valve in case you want to travel with it. Just a great pen overall, and all of them come with the same nib variety, compatibility, swappability, and kind of a managed expectation. You know what you're getting with these pens, but most of them come with a pretty good discount if you get this instead of one of their fancier resins. And not everybody's into the fancy resins. Some of you might like just a simple demonstrator pen. In that case, really, you start getting into some fantastic deals in these pens. All right, God bless you. Have a great week.